All right, so maybe you guys have been covering and watching the show here recently. We've talked a lot about tokenized securities. Today we're going to dive in a little deeper, take a look at some things that are happening that may start to put together pieces of the puzzle here. So it's going to be interesting. Stay tuned. You'll love it. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, and that is iTrust Capital. If you're looking at long-term holding and you want to do it in an IRA, this is one of the places you can do it. You can either transfer an IRA or you can start one up. Very simple. All you have to do is go to iTrustCapital.com. You'll be able to buy, sell, all within your IRA account. Gold, silver, all that cool stuff, including altcoins. So you guys can, degen it up over in there. And it's fully self-directed. So you guys run it. And all you have to do is click the link down below. You'll get a $100 funding reward if you decide to go somewhere into iTrust Capital. All right, so let's get into a couple of news items here. You probably have seen us talk a little bit about Republic in the past. This is one of the stories that had broken. Of course, Republic selected Avalanche. We ended up doing a full video with the Avalanche team. If you guys haven't seen that, go over to our YouTube channel. This latest one right here with John Wu is the one where we talk about tokenized securities. And also just, there's a lot of things happening within the AVAX ecosystem and Ava Labs. I want to go to a clip where John and I actually reference what's happening in tokenized securities. Listen in.
So Republic is great. They're a very successful venture firm now. And the benefits here are incredible. Think about it, like anyone who's ever invested in private assets or funds, especially credit funds, are a pain in the neck. They realize everything from the subscription process to the distributions to the wire calls, all of that are very cumbersome manual process. And it's effectively a better user experience for whoever is using it. That will increase engagement. So that may actually not just be helpful from a RegTech perspective, but it may encourage people to do more investing in alternative securities. I'd be remiss if I don't mention the other big partner that Ava Labs has with, is Citibank.
All right, so this is some of the new news right here. Republic lists profit sharing digital security on Avalanche. If you look within the article, it says they're listing the profit sharing. All of this note on Avalanche, all happening. In case you guys don't know, this is a U.S. regulated platform on INX. The note listing will begin. Let me see if I can zoom in on that for you guys. The note listing will be available on KYC'ed, non-accredited. All of this happens on December 6th, so this is coming just around the corner. Republic note holders will also have access to community benefits. There's some things going on within that, so obviously there's a lot there behind it. Further into this, just as a note, Algorand was actually part of this as well, but Avalanche's flexibility and customization were necessary for them to be able to take note to the next phase of growth. So kind of a bad thing because Algorand has had such bad luck, it feels like, for a long time. I want to go further into, just to go to their website, shows you a little bit on the per note, what's in circulation, market cap. And mainly, as I said, this is a collaborative investor community, very large too, 3 million, I think, investors out there. Let me go to a clip real quick that gets into a little bit more around what's happening with both Republic and Avalanche. Listen in.
The idea behind the Republic note is that we wanted an asset that was functional for people to, self-custody if they were so willing to. We also needed an affordable way to deliver dividends, and in a way that is programmatically restricted, meaning it's programmatically regulated, it's programmatically acting legally in the way that we're distributing dividends. And that's actually something that a lot of people get wrong when they're talking about tokenizing assets and doing things on blockchains. It actually makes it much easier for us to control.
For us, from an Ava Labs standpoint, why we really got excited about kind of partnering with Republic on this initiative in particular is, I think, we say it a lot, but really the democratization of finance, the tokenization initiatives today really focus on, the ability for accredited investors to have access to private market investments. Here, it's kind of even expanding it further beyond there and really using Reg CF to enable an even greater number of investors at much lower investment minimums.
All right, so we're going to connect the dots here. This is where Republic is. They are on the INX platform. So this is the first SEC registered security token to IPO on the blockchain. So this is a good example of how all of this starts to take place. further into the page, you'll learn a little bit more here about it. And this is where it gets to interesting. This is the first one that's going to restrict the transfer. Let me zoom in on that for you guys. The transfer of INX tokens unless both digital wallets are whitelisted. So this is both the receiver and the sender. Kind of a unique element here that's going to make it beneficial. Obviously, one of the reasons where it can get through SEC scrutiny. So a lot happening here with INX and Republic. All right, so just so we can go over to Etherscan, just get a little bit more on INX, on ERC20, obviously. And right here, total of 34,000 transactions found on this, so definitely moving along. And if you look further into the website, these are the available security tokens available now. So all on INX. So INX obviously there, MS Token, and some others that will play into this. So again, back to tokenized securities. All of this is starting to flow, and now the blockchain, of course, is a big part of this. I want to jump over to a tweet real quick. This is a good example. Critics claim that low profile. Remember Prometheum. I don't know if you guys were, maybe you didn't know about Prometheum, but let's assume you did. If you haven't watched some of our hearing videos, go back and look at that, because Prometheum was kind of propped up as the authorized security platform for blockchain by the SEC, which, by the way, I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, critics claim that low-profile Prometheum has a license but no business. It's a license is just a facade that allows the SEC to say digital asset exchanges can register. If you go into Prometheum, there's absolutely nothing going on with this company. And again, remember, go watch it. Search Prometheum on our channel. You'll get a chance to see just how smug and we were right about Prometheum in the sense that this was just kind of a front. But interesting right here in the press, Wall Street Journal, Business Insider, NASDAQ, you kind of get the picture here. You know what's playing out. Further into this, I want to go in and look at some of the companies that Republic is building within these notes. And just to give you an example, here's kind of a rundown of the companies. I'll zoom in on a few of these, but some of the ones you'll notice on there, obviously, SpaceX, I mean, you can get Robinhood, etc., but Avalanche right there on the key, for obvious reasons. But you've got Avalanche, Blocklords is in this, Dapper Labs, Dexalot, Genies, Kraken, Metaplex, Mojoverse, Polygon, Near Protocol, and then you got Pith Network and also even Zrun. So the point being is that all of these are now available within these notes. All right, so what you just saw, this is an example. This is where all this is going to live. So Republic will have a subnet. It's just not listed here. These are these branded numbers. And John and I talked about this in our, if you haven't watched that video, go back and check the whole Avalanche video out. But there's a ton of projects that are going to start deploying on these subnets. And that is when we start to see the transaction lift. Obviously, that's when we'd start to see really kind of the proof in the pudding around tokenized securities. And if you don't believe what's happening there, then you have to look over at what's happening with JP Morgan. Apollo, grabbing first mover advantage. All of this, again, is tied into the Onyx, ecosystem. Obviously, Onyx riding on Avalanche as well for tokenized securities. All right, so this next clip I want to get into is where we kind of shift trains a little bit. And this is getting into a crypto president or a Bitcoin president, whatever you want to call it. Listen into this interview here with Peter McCormick and Vivek.
I think that's.
Well, I hope you don't own any crypto. You haven't got any shitcoins, have you?
I owned Bitcoin and Ethereum as at the time of the.
Vague, you're a shitcoiner. Come on, man.
Okay, you guys are purists,
right? Listen, you got to take that Ethereum, trade it for Bitcoin.
Well, I don't trade my account anymore because I'm running for president. It's independently managed. But,
also, first Republican presidential candidate to accept Lightning donations.
Yes, we do
via Bitcoin, the layer 2. So that was a big move as well.
Yeah.
Now, I think that the thing here is that we're getting into mainstream, and that's a good thing because we're already starting to see, tokenized assets. Now we have a potential presidential candidate that really is got a chance, in the Republican Party. And if you look over at his donation page, it says donate with crypto, obviously there. So I think we're beyond the idea that these are, shitcoins. Now we're moving into a space where they're looked at as what they are, and that is tokenized securities. At some point, we're going to see more and more of this moving into NFTs, all of that playing into it. And if you look further into his own donation, this is going into Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, ETH, Wrap Bitcoin, ApeCoin, Litecoin, Doge, Shiba, right after donating, you can also come back and claim your NFT. So he's tied in all of the elements that are, I think, indicative of blockchain, what's happening in crypto, the NFT space in general, Web3, all of it's tied into the right spot. A couple other things I want to hit on here. And remember, this is getting into what I think is mainstreaming all of this. So crypto applications now covered in the sector include entertainment, music, media, collectibles, sports, art, meaning all of this is mainstreaming. And Grayscale also reported a 24-month to date growth in the sectors as of November 27th. This was on a recent report that Grayscale released, of course, showing and showcasing there the 24% growth sector in NFTs and Web3 games, which I think everybody kind of understands. We're going to see a monumental explosion, I think, in Web3. Gaming will be part of that, NFTs, all of that, because we're getting to not only the cycle, but also the interest from the markets. We went through some pretty rough times over the last 2 years. This may be the perfect spot at the perfect time. If you go into Grayscale and you start to break down the report, you'll see the market sectors right here. And these are in billions. So this is the proportion of crypto asset class overall. And you can see smart contract platforms right there taking up a large portion of it, currency, some others, and then consumer and culture. Further into the charts in this report, you'll see an interesting point right here. And this is the assets in this sector they call consumer and culture sector: Dogecoin, Shiba, Immutable, Sandbox, Axie, etc., Flow, Dapper Labs. All of that playing into, again, what is, I think, legitimizing the overall nature of what this market is really about. And that is what's happening in terms of technology adoption and kind of this idea around tokenized securities. And of course, these new tech, of course, with what we've seen with INX and Republic, and obviously Avalanche playing into all of this. So don't sleep on this stuff. It's a very interesting. All right, so here was a tweet from Sandeep. I mean, this is a situation where Polygon is essentially trying to mirror what's happening on Avalanche. All of this is happening in December. So they got a public demo, next generation ZK product, and then they're supposedly going to change the game for RWAs and institutional adoption. And I think this gets back to the point here of mainstreaming a lot of what's happening in blockchain. All of this is very intriguing timing too, because you've got a market starting to dial up. You've got, obviously, Wall Street, of course, dialed up already, somewhat overheated. You've got dollar softening, maybe a soft landing coming in. You've got the Fed starting to pause. There's just some interesting things that could play into the timing. Plus, you have a presidential candidate coming in all hot on crypto. So it's going to be one to watch. If you guys are not part of the Diamond Circle, make sure and jump in right now. It's another place you guys can get additional alpha, and we do 2 podcasts over there. So make sure and check it out. It's another place for more info that we don't publish here on YouTube. Of course, if you want to catch me out there on X, it's @PaulBaron. Catch you next time right here on TechPath.